Welcome to The Growth Factor.
Of The Growth Factor, put on by the Schuylkill Chamber of Commerce. And today we are going to touch on a very important subject for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I have my boss, President and CEO Bob Carl, with us, as well as Tony Merchulinski, Marketing and Membership Relations.
So for everyone out there who's listening or watching today, thank you. It is an important time in the year for business and particularly the state government. It is June, which means a lot of people refer to it as budget season. The goal is to have a state budget by June 30th. And as a chamber, there's a lot of different topics that we have been advocating for, but there's one particular one that we are working to get over the finish line and is what we're talking about today. And why we have a special guest, Robert S. Carl of the Schuylkill Chamber of Commerce with us, our president and CEO. So today the goal is to just let Bob explain the advocacy efforts that have unrolled in the past, not only year, but over a couple of years now, explain where we are and explain what we're doing to get over the finish line.
Well, thank you, Tony. Thank you, Sierra. Appreciate the opportunity. It is a critical moment in time, maybe the most critical moment in time in the past 2 decades for childcare. It's been 18 years since anything significant has come out as an enhancement for the childcare industry, and the childcare industry simply is in crisis. It's not a crisis that is on a flat trajectory. In fact, it's a crisis that is growing every day. There is a gigantic gap in teacher availability, 3,000 more teachers needed in the childcare industry as we sit here today, and that would greatly enhance almost to 30,000 the availability for childcare slots that are now in great short supply. It is not unusual for parents, workers who want to go to work, parents who want to go to work, or guardians who want to go to work to realize that they may not be able to because they cannot find a childcare slot. Therefore, we have been working on this for 2 years, and the steps we had to take included working with the current administration, Governor Shapiro's administration, to make sure the message was clear and what the underlying problems are in childcare. And it really came down to there's a series of things that could be done and that many people are talking about, but to try to get something done legislatively, you need to be focused. And so we believed, along with our advocates, Start Strong PA, that we needed to focus on teacher recruitment and retention, because if you cannot recruit teachers and you cannot retain teachers, then the number of child care opportunities will diminish, and that's exactly what's happening. So the problem with child care teacher positions is clearly twofold. One, the compensation is below what the normal going rate for any industry employment is in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. It's sub $15 an hour. There's different numbers out there, but let's use $15 an hour as an average. And just 2 years ago, it was only $12 an hour. So that's problem number one. That compensation is not competitive. You can get many, many, many jobs in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania at a starting wage well above that. And these are people that we're entrusting our children to, young children, infant through pre-K, who need caring and loving hands to take care of them. The second problem is simply many, if not almost all, child care positions do not have any major benefit package. So most of these child care teachers do not even have rudimentary health care, which most of us would consider in workforce development to be a key element that they have to have. And so what we find is we have young men and women coming out of school wanting to teach at the child care level. And they do that for a while until they get to a point in their lives where the compensation doesn't work, or they realize they can no longer deal with no health care benefits, because many of them stay on their parents' health care plans, if they can, until age 26, when they have to come off. And so that's a stopgap that they can get some health care coverage through their parents until they get to that age. But then they're moving on in life, developing their own families, possibly getting married, understanding what it takes in the world today to be adequately compensated, to do all the things you want. And they have to exit it, the child care industry. And unfortunately, at that same moment in time, government is subsidizing K through 12. Our school districts, over 500 in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, could never exist without significant government funding that actually is always argued to be increased on an annual basis in the state budget. So at the exact moment that we continue to fund our school districts, we are not funding childcare. And so where does the childcare teacher go if they have passion for childcare, but now economically they need to leave? They're going exactly to where the government is already funding, which is K through 12, and that's their relief valve, because they want to teach. They prefer to teach infant through pre-K, but now they're forced for economic reasons to go to other teaching institutions that are funded for both salary and for benefits, and so we have a mass exodus. And this is creating a crisis. The other outcome that is happening is because a lot of children are not getting adequate training in the world today in infant through pre-K. We see a fallout as they enter kindergarten, first grade, second grade, where children are already educationally deficient. We would have never thought about this years ago. In my era, kindergarten through 12 was what we considered education. In my opinion, in the New World Order, education begins very close to infancy, and I'm totally amazed what young children know by age 1, by age 2, even working on tablets and computers, and it's just amazing. But our education has enhanced so significantly in the world today. The children can easily fall behind, and kindergarten can no longer become the starting point for our educational system. So I am very passionate that we need to deal with this for the future of education, for the future of our children, for the future of our future workers. And we believe this is a critical thing that the Chamber of Commerce has to be involved with. And finally, we have worked diligently over 2 years now, and we now have 72 and growing chambers or economic development organizations inside our coalition asking for support. And fortunately, Governor Shapiro has graciously placed $55 million in this pending state budget. So he has asked for it. It's a major initiative of his. And we're at the moment in time now where we have to convince our state legislators, and this is critically important, that they understand that this is not an afterthought, that this is a critical priority. If you look at energy in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and you look at other key items that drive economic development and workforce development, we believe child care is on equal footing with all those. And if the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania it needs to be and wants to be the very best it can be, then we owe it to Governor Shapiro to support the $55 million line item that he put in this state budget. And we need everyone to understand they need to passionately talk to their state legislators, House members and senators, to make sure that as we're down the final stretch here, they understand the critical nature of this for the future of our workforce in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Thank you, Bob. I mean, I said this on the last podcast we did about childcare. The work that is being done here at the Chamber isn't just because we see that it is a issue in our local community, but it is an issue across the state. And Bob and Samantha, our executive vice president, the work that they have done behind the scenes and also, in front of the camera, on the steps of the Capitol down in Philadelphia. They're doing a lot of work because they truly care, and the Chamber truly cares and believes this is something that needs to be fixed for workforce development in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Well, and I would add one more thing. This can be an emotional topic. I mean, I don't think there's anything more possibly emotional than your daughter, your son, your granddaughter, your grandson not being able to go to a child care facility. We do not believe child care is babysitting. We believe child care is education. But if you are faced with a situation where you want to put your child into a child care facility, and here in Schuylkill County, just since 2019, we've not gained slots. We've lost 20% of our child care slots. So now, if this is what you believe, then you must understand that there has to be a first step. And we just heard in Harrisburg in the middle of May, an economist, Dr. Catherine Edwards, who took all the emotion out of this and went at it from an economic 101 standard presentation. And she says, as much as our society doesn't want to hear more issues where government has to intervene, I mean, we understand in like public infrastructure, roads, bridges, there'd be no way we'd have adequate roads and bridges without the government. The government has decided that we can't have education in K through 12 without government. But she tells us that there is no way out of this crisis, absolutely no way out of this crisis without government intervention. And while some might say that the $55 million is not going to be enough, and we would agree with that, but we also recognize that in a very tight budget year, which every year is kind of that way in the budget for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, you need a first step. You need that first line item appropriation. So I want to be crystal clear that we are very grateful as a coalition to Governor Shapiro. We are very grateful and thankful that he has seen this as a Pennsylvania crisis, and he has appropriated $55 million on this line item to go directly to teacher recruitment and retention, right into the pockets of teachers to recruit them and retain them. And we're grateful, and we know that the governor has said, while he wants more there, this has to be the first beginning step, and he intends to grow it. But we have to get it over the finish line, and as with any state budget item, if we don't fight for it, we're not fighting for our future. We're not fighting for our working parents. We're not fighting for the betterment of our young children who need this. And so my plea is, this is the moment. This is the moment in time where we must act. Because if we fail to act and we lose the appropriation, we don't know when this could be restarted. So when you're going up the ladder and you're grateful for what you have, it's important for us to drive it home. And that's in the hands of our state legislators. And we need everyone that's listening to this podcast to tell their state legislators, their senators and their House members, how important child care is, not only for the children, not only for the teachers, not only for all the faculty that works in the child care, but for workforce development and economic development in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. If we want to be the very best that we can be as a Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, this is the moment in time.
Thank you, Bob.
I mean, everything I was going to point out, you hit it on the dot. So,
Yeah, so for updates on this, continue to look at the Schuylkill Chamber's social media pages and our website. We have been updating a lot throughout the year on this process and the advocacy efforts. Continue to just pay attention to the media coming out from the Chamber, and we're going to keep fighting for it to get it across the finish line by the end of the budget season.
Absolutely, and I thank you both. I don't think there's a more important factor right now in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We fight for many, including, as I already said, energy and others. But at the end of the day, this is the moment in time because the governor has heard our plea, and we need to help the governor, Governor Shapiro, get this across the finish line. It's in the hands of our state legislators, and this is the moment, and this is where we need ground support of everyone saying, we elected you. You need to help us on a critical matter facing our children in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Thank you again, Bob, for coming on. This has been another episode of The Growth Factor, and we are excited and we're looking forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you.